you know, and these are the kinds of things that drive the public crazy. And, you know, from my perspective, many times, civilian flagmen could be doing that job for less money without endangering anybody. Now you're talking about, I was out on, heading out on 62 the other day, and they were doing some tree trimming near the Berry Center. You know, and clearly there was need of, I think there were 2 officers there, but there's certainly need for police officers in that situation. Traffic had to be stopped for a period of time from both sides of the road. They were only allowing traffic down the road in one direction at a time. You know, it seems to me common sense would lead to assigning a police officer that kind of duty. Now, I know in the governor's proposal, there's set some rules associated with, I think they're trying to make it absolute by saying if it's a road with 45 miles an hour and so on and so forth. The proposal that I had made was that I still wanted it to be left in the hands of the police chief as to make that judgment, but to allow him to say in this particular situation we could use less expensive labor to get the job done because it's not essential that a police officer be on duty. That's where I'm coming from on that issue. I'm not sure that answers your question, but that's...
Just to throw that right back to you real quick, and not for the sake of argument, I'm sure when we get together, we really have to look at that now. Currently, right now, in North Reading, we have numerous amount of schools, at least 6 schools running all day long. We have 3 patrol officers on the street. We have openings now where we're working from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. with 2 patrol officers on the streets of North Reading. With 6 schools going, the calls for service we have, we're backing up the fire department, we back up the Department of Public Works. It's nice to know you have 2 and 3 detail officers working. They are told that if they hear a dispatch, they have no portables, you're equipped with the same firearm, they respond to emergencies. In a small town like North Reading, we get detail men responding. You cannot put a price tag on that kind of response, because it only takes one time for us to be on one side of town, and we don't get to the other side of town to take care of whatever need or call for service. This detail guy, at some point, would be a big savings to the town as the economy gets worse and our budgets get shorter and smaller. So it's a big input. It's like an extra reserve force when they're out there working at detail, and they leave that detail to respond to the call for service. I would consider that when you're making a decision.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, Mr. Harris.
My question is, changing the flag and so forth, how is the town going to save money by changing the flag? How is the town itself going to save money? If we send out a flag on Verizon, do we get compensated? Or will they compensate us in some way?
The costs of flagmen for in the private sector, we all pay that price. We pay it in the rates that we pay Verizon, Comcast. We pay it in the rates if we had to hire any individual had to hire a police officer to do a detail in front of a house while some construction was going on. We all pay the price.
I understand that, but I'm saying, how much North Reading itself, tomorrow morning changes the flag on it, but just what you want to do is, do the right thing and so forth. Does the town see any money from that? Does it see any result? And instead of taking a police officer off the street, put a flag in there, where does the town of North Reading see the savings? I'm worried about the town of North Reading. I want to know, are we going to save money? And if so, how much are we going to save if we can? What is the budget? I'm just trying to figure that out. I've been listening to both sides. I don't see where the town is going to save any money, whether it's flagmen or anybody else. Because the prevailing wage and the
Steve, will you?
No, just in response, this should not be a moneymaker for the town, first and foremost. Obviously, when a police officer is working a detail for the town, there's no savings to the town. It costs us time and a half for a police officer to work a detail for the DPW, for the school department, for whoever it is. And the town and the taxpayers pay for that out of the overtime budget. There's no money realized by the town, it's an expense to the town. Right? That's first and foremost. The only way that the town collects anything is for the outside vendors and contractors and utilities, whereby the town gets a 10% administrative fee for those details. So, police officers getting 57 or 48 or $57 an hour, the town's getting an additional $4.80 or $5.70 per hour for every hour they get billed out. So yeah, so that's revenue that the town is collecting as an administrative fee above and beyond the rate that the police officers are getting. So, if I'm having a new drive, if I live on Haverhill Street and I'm getting a new driveway or something, or new water service put into my home, and I have to have a police detail, it's a minimum of 4 hours. If it's over 4 hours, it's gonna cost me 8 hours. You know, so 8 hours times $50 an hour, you know, do the math, $400, plus the town collects $40 on top of that. So there's no realization of additional income for the town. It could be actually a net loss, a small net loss to the town. If you look at the Route 62 project, all those hours that were paid, and I don't know what that amounted to. I know at one point the contractor was $462,000 in delinquencies to the town. But I don't know what the total detail cost of that. The administrative fees and those things had to be waived. The town of North Reading got nothing. Nothing. It's true. It's
No, not for not all for the non-municipal work that was done as part of
This-
the Verizon and Comcast, but all
But
the
Route 62 state project, which was the bulk of the project there, we get nothing. Zero. So, and that was the biggest big dig project that ever came through the town of North Reading, hopefully the last one.
We also have to keep in mind,
But-
part of the
but-
rationale behind the 10% was to cover our administrative costs.
Right, well,
And
years ago,
because
the
of late
details were paid
payments.
directly to the officers. Years ago, I recall, it was paid directly to the officers, and it was determined through the administration of the board here that that wasn't a good idea, and that all details should come through the department, come through town hall, through the finance department, and be paid. And then, as a result, we said that we're gonna incur some additional costs, so therefore, we're going to place an administrative fee associated with the administration of those outside services. Don't shake your head. That's what happened. That's the way it was.
The 10% went into effect when the slush fund came in. When the 10% came.
The slush fund, what slush fund?
That was when the town pays us the next week after we work a deed. Before that happened,
Right.
we'd have to wait 6 months to get paid for a deed. The town put in money in an account and we get paid the following week. That's when the 10% came. I remember the top for 23 years, I never saw cash once.
No, it was before your time. Before your
No,
time.
10% came in about 4 or 5 years after I was employed by the town, before the 10% came. And that was a 10% administrative fee for billing purposes. It's put back in that flush.
To handle the additional administrative costs. Right, to handle the additional administrative costs.
And I would like to make one comment. I actually take exception to what Mr. Siri said about detail officers not doing their job. I can guarantee you, you must have been in a different town. If you've seen officers in North Reading, they're always doing their job. I see officers at 10 hours today on Chestnut Street. Officers are always paying attention. They're answering their radios, they're answering their pages, answering calls for help. Not once in North Reading have I seen an officer not doing their job. You must have been in another community, not North Reading. I take exception to say that my officers aren't doing what they're supposed to do.
Well,
first of all, I'm not accusing all officers of doing that, and maybe not all of the time, but there are many times I've gone down side streets mostly, where an officer's chatting with a contractor, and they're not paying attention to what's going on. I'm sorry, but that's the case.
Can I just bring up,
Gentleman in the back there.
Just something you think about when you said side streets and most of the traffic is residential and residential. But something that the town should consider themselves, consider is most of the North Reading police officers do live in town. So that's an added benefit. We know for the most part who belongs in that neighborhood and who doesn't belong in that neighborhood. You get a flagman from Worcester or Springfield or some other city or town, they're not gonna know who belongs in
Joe?
Yes, if I could, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to go back to Chief Harris's question, because it did not get answered. The question was not, what is the town gonna lose because of 10%? The question was, I didn't hear it answered, how is the town going to save money? And I didn't hear an answer to that. The town.
I don't look at this, Mr. Chairman, as a money-saving venture for the town. I look upon it as a money-saving venture,
We were told it
probably
is.
for the taxpayers, the ratepayers, you know, who are all part of the town too, as the chairman pointed out.
Totally
We
different
all
than
pay.
what I've been hearing for
Well,
the last month.
I've never said it was,
Oh, I've been
I
told
have
the
never
town
said,
was going to save money.
I have
meaning
never said that
town
the
of
town's
North
the
Reading.
town doesn't save a dime, because when we hire a detail, it costs us time and a half.
Okay.
It's exempt from
Good.
this, there's
Okay.
nothing to do with it.
So there's no
Other than,
savings
unless,
for the town.
unless the town decides to hire a flagman.
The town cannot hire a flagman for DPW.
I don't know. I don't know what the new rules are gonna promulgate.
You will
My
know.
guess is that they would, because with the new promulgating, the rules that are being suggested are that on state projects, they don't have to have a police officer.
Okay?
So
And that's where your savings is going to come, on those particular
on
projects.
those particular projects, but that's yet to be determined. But, and again, they're all valid points, you know, Officer Zimmerman, great points they're making. I mean, I'm not disputing any of it. What I'm thinking, I'm looking at the raw data here, $48 an hour plus 10%, you know, $57 an hour plus 10%. That is an outrageous price to pay for some of these details. That's a very high price to pay. And during the course of negotiations, over the past negotiations, the board has attempted to cap these rates and have not been successful. No doubt about it. So over the collective bargaining table, it's been discussed and have been unable to come to an agreement. That's not true. I said it on negotiations. when we
Through
tried
the
to do
chair,
it.
one
You
at
know,
a time,
I
okay,
said it on
please?
negotiations when we attempted to do it, and it was held up for a long period of time, just on that one particular matter. And we were unable to do it and unable to come to a contract, and in the collective wisdom of the board, it wasn't an issue that was large enough to hold up the collective bargaining agreement and the signing of a contract. But it's gotten to a point where over $50 an hour, we're approaching $50 an hour for a detail with a minimum 4 hours. Every time you get called up for a detail, it's $200. And if it's over 4 hours, it's $400. That's a lot of money. Something's gotta be done, and that's why the public is calling for it, that's why the governor's calling for it. It's time to talk about it a little bit more, a little bit louder. And again, flagmen are not gonna give you everything you're gonna get with a police officer. I will concede that. But as was pointed out, in some instances, I might not need all of that either. And in those instances where we really feel that we do, there should be a police officer there.
One problem I have with that,
Through the chair, go ahead, just so that we have a little order here, go ahead.
I've been at the meeting, I've been listening for half an hour on standards for French speaking. All our standards need to be improved. And now we're talking about police officers, we're going back to flag. Who are the standards going to be here?
Left in the hands of the police chief, where they belong.
Everybody's making comments about DPW and the French.
That was me, that wasn't everybody, that was just me.
You have to bring them up to par.
They're not held to minimum
We're
OSHA
going back
standards.
from public to private. We're going the other way. Here.
It's not public to private. I mean, that's not public to private. That's OSHA we're talking about OSHA safety standards for employees.
Different standards of safety. We're gonna go
But
from
for
police
employees.
officers to flag. So we're going
For
from different
employees.
standards of safety. Would you agree with that?